and then when I migrated to the later half of my business, we dealt only at C-suite executives. So we're a retainer firm, we're doing senior level. So the candidates come from all over the world, not just within Singapore. I think in the past, candidates coming from overseas had an easier life because they are given all the benefits of an expat, and those benefits are essentially gone now. The local has equal opportunity to consider. So it's tougher for overseas people to come in with a high cost of living. And particularly, I think last year, the rental cost was just exorbitant. And so I've heard of companies relocating some of their regional executive overseas because it's just too expensive to keep them in Singapore. So I think the high cost of living is driving some businesses away, the high cost of rental, particularly, and high cost of just everything in Singapore. So we have to contend with that as a nation, how to keep the resources against inflation and keep the talent. Because, essentially for us in Singapore, really, what we have is brain power. And if we don't have that brain power and the creativity, we can't thrive as a nation, So I think our government has quite a piece of work in front of them to do to attract this talent. At the same time, developing our local talent. Our local talent is coming up now. I think it's quite good because a lot of executives have gone overseas and they're exposed. They are as good as a foreign talent for some categories of it. So they should be given a chance instead of being stereotyped to say everybody from overseas are good. And so I think if we have the local talent marching up to the tune and the foreign talent continue to come and give certain element that they can at a very senior level. And those at senior level, I think companies can afford to house them and provide them all the benefits. But mid-level, I don't think it's necessary. And I think it's essentially going away.
The increase in talent, to Pamela and Tracy, do you see potential for you to develop businesses into something very large if you wanted to? Or do you think Singapore is a place where you can do that? Or do you feel you've got to do it elsewhere?
I run an event operations business here in Singapore, and my team is, we're a strong team of 6, and we're dedicated project managers and producers with some designers as well. So for my business, it doesn't make sense for us to scale up to big numbers because firstly, that's also not the direction I want for my business. It's just not what we do. But also, labor costs are phenomenal compared to when, 3 years ago, pre-COVID. Like you have university graduates who have just come out with zero experience asking for $3,000 paychecks off the bat, and it's just such a different scene from what it was several years ago, where people are actually willing to put in the sweat equity before they earn their stripes and and get to enjoy the fruits of their labors. So what I notice right now also with it's also very difficult to hire foreign talent even if I wanted to. And it was jumping through hoops to get their passes and for the work that they do, because we're a small company that's growing and we want to pay salaries, but we also are, because of the nature of our business, when you're in the entertainment business as well, it's feast to famine. So you can't just get staff and then hope for the best. You're always planning to make sure that you can pay salaries, and if another, knock on wood, pandemic rolls by, you want to make sure that you're not you're firing hire to fire at the end of the day. So I think that's something we need to keep in mind when we're doing this.
Definitely we will need to look into hiring more people eventually as well, and expanding our regional growth in order to address a lot of the changes that are coming in my industry, especially being in the creative and media industry. So we're facing a lot of challenges, I would say, with the higher emergence of AI technology, especially. And then, if we don't upgrade ourselves personally, it doesn't make sense to hire even more people when we can just say, hey, I can do all of this with just one snap of my fingers and just click a button and I can change everything. I think for us, it's better that we upgrade ourselves and continuously learn and then upgrade the gear that we need to get. So in this sense, being on a smaller scale actually is more efficient for us.